Hello and welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'm going to compare my 3 favorite sculpting tools on the left with 3 free alternatives on the right. Now, I think this is a great video for beginners, so I started a new playlist, Best for Beginners, and in that playlist you can find this video along with several other videos that I think are great for people just starting out in sculpting. Alright, let's get started. I thought the best way to compare these two sets of tools was to sculpt the same thing with them and show you how the results varied between the free tools and the bought tools. So I'm going to start off and show you how I sculpted a little monster head with these free tools, and then I'll bring in the lower left the footage of me sculpting the monster head with the bought tools. So the first thing I'm going to do is break off the extra prongs on the plastic fork, so that way they don't get in the way when I want to use the fork as the needle tool. Now with that done, I can go ahead and start softening up my clay. So I'm just going to make this monster out of some Primo Sculpey. So I'm getting it all soft. I'm going to go ahead and just do his face. So I've got the ball shape I need for that. And now I'm going to sculpt the ears. So I'm just going to do like a diamond shape for that. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my plastic knife to cut that in half. And you can see in the lower left corner there, I'm using my X-Acto knife to cut that in half. Now I'm just using the end of the spoon tool, or the plastic spoon, to represent the ball tool. And the reason why I'm using the spoon, even though the ends are pretty much all the same for the replacement of the ball tool, is because of the curvature of the spoon itself. I can use that in other methods that I would normally use a ball tool. Now, one of those methods is when I use the ball tool to smooth in the clay to attach pieces. So these ears, I've got them dug out in the shape, but now I want to take the back and I want to smooth that back of the ear into the back of the head so that will bond and be durable after it's baked. Now I've got him flipped over and I'm just using the edge of the spoon to smooth in a few spots, make sure those ears are nice and attached to his head. Next, I'm going to use the ball tool and the end of the spoon to make my eye sockets. Now this was a little bit rough. I wasn't really happy with this, so if you stay tuned to the end of the video, you can see a cheap alternative to use for a ball tool instead of, a plastic spoon. So the next thing I need to do is make his nose. So I'm just rolling out a ball of clay for his nose and then 2 smaller balls for his nostrils. And then I'm going to use my needle tool or plastic fork to make his mouth. So I'm just giving him a nice smiley face, and I'm just taking my plastic fork and dragging it back and forth to smooth that out. And then I'll add a couple indentions to give him some little dimples there. And we've got a happy little monster face. Now with that done, I can go ahead and mix up my green and my white for his eyes. I just want to have a nice marbled look. I don't want him to be a solid color. Just thought that would be fun with this little guy. So once I'm happy with that, I'm going to roll it out into a little snake, cut off some excess clay, roll it out some more, cut it in approximately half so my eyes are about the same size, roll those up into balls, and place them in my eye sockets on my monster. So get those in there, and it kind of covers up some of that roughness. So the end of that spoon still worked out pretty well. Now I'm going to take some black clay, roll it out into a snake, cut off a couple of little pieces I'm going to use for the pupils, so I'll roll those out and attach those to the eyes. Alright, so this guy is pretty much done. Just going to go through, add a little bit of texture with my ball, or with my spoon, to kind of represent the texture I added with the ball tool. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and switch over. I've got some green clay here. I'm going to make some blobs. So I use my ball tool to make my first blob and a needle tool, and then my X-Acto knife to make his pupil. But now for my second blob, I'm going to use the end of a paintbrush. Most paintbrushes have a kind of a thicker rounded edge, and so that works really, really well for an alternative ball tool if you have one on hand. And then I'm going to do the same method for the eye, roll that out, use my broken fork for the mouth, and roll out a little snake of clay for the eye, cut that off, and add the pupil. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and bake everything according to package instructions, and we'll look at the final results. And here are our finished sculptures. So we'll start with our monster faces, and these will work great as magnets. So the one on the left here was used with our bottom tools, and you can see it's very smooth where I used the needle tool and the ball tool, and I was able to smooth in, make sure those ears would stay attached. The eyes look really good. Now our one that I used are free tools, so our little plastic dinnerware set. It is rougher where I use the edge of that, or the end of that plastic spoon. So it's rougher there, and the mouth is a little bit wider because that fork prong is a lot thicker than our needle tool. But I think if you want to have an alternative that's free and it's also safer for younger sculptors to use, I think this is a really good alternative. And you notice using that spoon to smooth it in worked just as well as the ball tool, if not better. It's actually a smoother look. If you notice here, there's a few that it's indented. So it does work really well. But I think if you've got a paintbrush, that works even better for using as an alternative for a ball tool. Since it's not technically free, or I haven't found a free paintbrush, I'm sure they're out there somewhere. I did not include that as part of the free thing, but it could be a free alternative if you already have one. Another alternative you can use is you could use like a safety pin or a paper clip, and use that for your needle tool. The paper clip would work probably pretty well, and most people have those around their house, and it would make a little bit smaller indentation there. Alright guys, well thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought of this video, and if you'd like to see more videos in my Best for Beginner series, let me know down in the comments down below. Let me know if there's a certain type of video you want me to cover. I'd be more than happy to do that. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and remember, never stop creating. Bye!